We will call the Cumberland County Finance meeting to order, and we'll begin with a roll call, please, Lauren.
Commissioner Nieder.
I am here.
Commissioner Sashi.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
We will now open the floor up to any public comment while we have some folks in the room. I believe we don't have anyone here interested in making a public comment. Is there anyone online? Are we good to go, John?
You are good to go. Interesting confirmed.
Okay, couldn't see the little thing. Next up, we will take the approval of the minutes from the February 19th meeting. I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then the main purpose for our meeting, and I'm actually incredibly pleased that it is this today, that we have folks here from the Red Cross joining us, Laura Berg and Aaron Sunday, and we're going to acknowledge them for March as Red Cross Month. But they've played a critical role just recently in our community. Unfortunately, we had a devastating fire. I know they've played a role in York with all of the things that have been going on in our community. And we're very pleased to have you here today. I'm going to read the proclamation first, and then we'll have you come up and we'll take a few photos and you can talk a little bit about the Red Cross. So our proclamation states, whereas the American Red Cross supplies 40% of the nation's blood and plays a critical role in providing shelter, nourishment, and comfort to disaster victims, while also teaching life-saving skills, distributing humanitarian aid, and offering support to our veterans, military members, and their families, this organization is guided by 7 fundamental principles: humanity, impartiality, neutrality, independence, voluntary service, unity, and universality. And whereas the Central Pennsylvania chapter of the American Red Cross works to prevent and alleviate human suffering during emergencies through the generosity of donors and its volunteers. And whereas in 2024, the Central Pennsylvania chapter of the American Red Cross provided critical support to over 190 individuals affected by disasters such as home fires, educated more than 350 students on emergency preparedness, hosted over 140 blood drives, collecting more than 4,200 units of blood, and delivered more than 220 services to veterans, military families, and their families. The military members, and their families. Whereas since July 1, 2024, in Cumberland County, the chapter supported over 100 residents through 30 events, provided more than $25,000 in financial assistance, and responded to 39 disaster health service cases. And whereas we honor Clara Barton, the founder of the American Red Cross, whose lifelong dedication to alleviate suffering has made her one of the most celebrated women in history. And whereas we recognize and celebrate the selfless contributions of the individuals who make a profound impact locally through their time, generosity, and commitment. Now for the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners hereby declares March 2025 as American Red Cross Month. So ladies, would you please come on up? We'll do the official presentation here, take a few pictures.
We hit this one. Oh, yes. The other ones too.
Okay. All right, and then if we can just pull together. That looks great. Smile. I'm just going to take 3. All right. That looks great. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Turn some lights on. And then did you ladies, it looks like you have a full presentation. That'll be wonderful.
All right.
Sure.
Advanced slide.
Well, thank you for having us here. I appreciate it. It's a beautiful day outside. It's always nice to walk this downtown when it's so beautiful outside. My name is Laura Burke. I'm the Executive Director of the American Red Cross of Central Pennsylvania, and joining me here today is Aaron Sunday, who's a member of our Board of Directors. And certainly the proclamation said it all. You know, we have an expansive mission founded by Clara Barton over 144 years ago. You know, and we still carry out the core of that mission today through our service to our military community, through our disaster response efforts, blood collection, and any other wraparound services associated. I think some of the numbers that are mentioned are pretty staggering. Certainly our disaster response, we've seen increases in that in Cumberland County in the last calendar year, specifically coalescing around Carlisle. I can speak most recently as recent as this past Saturday evening. We have responded to the multifamily fire apartment fire, displacing 31 units worth of individuals. We supported initially with comfort items. We supported through working with our local government partners to open up and service a shelter. An emergency overnight shelter, yes, for some residents that stayed in it, but also a really kind of a hub where they could receive all of the other wraparound services that the Red Cross provides. So specific to this case, they could come and just receive a meal. So we did serve 3 meals a day and snacks, and had activities for people who maybe were out of their home and didn't have much else to do. They could come in and receive vital health services. So had there been medical equipment that was lost in the fire, we replaced that through our health services volunteer team. They could come in and receive mental health resources and spiritual care. We have volunteers on our team that provide those services as well. Where we are as of today, we did close down that shelter as of 5 p.m. on Monday evening. And we are meeting with all of the displaced residents on Thursday to start what we call the recovery process. We have given financial assistance to those to get through the next period of time. And then we are going to start looking at what that recovery pathway looks for them. That's when, Aaron will talk a little bit about opportunities for partnership. That's where the community really comes into play. Utilizing community resources, if there's government resources available, to make sure that those individualized needs are met. Every family has a different pathway to recovery, and we have individual caseworkers that work with that family unit or that household unit to make sure that their individualized needs are met. So we start that process, and that will continue for weeks in the future. Generally speaking, the recovery process is about 30 to 45 days, but can extend longer depending on if there's ongoing need. So that's really where we are with that specific response. Certainly, we had responded to another apartment fire, I think probably 18 months ago in Carlisle, that displaced a bunch of the residents, and it did, unfortunately, they were not able to go back, and we did open a shelter as a result of that as well. So certainly seeing as a trend, an unfortunate trend, an increase in those multifamily and multi-unit fires. And we'll talk a little bit about how the Red Cross is trying to be in the proactive space to try to prevent some of these fires from happening. So, and it's a great opportunity for community involvement and community partnership. So that being said, I'll turn it over to Aaron to talk a little bit about just how we can partner specifically in Cumberland County with various agencies to make sure that we're doing our part.
Sure. So the one thing that we partner on many times is our free smoke alarm installation. We look for communities that may need those smoke alarms installed. And we partner with local companies. It's a nice day for them to have volunteer hours, and we go out into the community as teams or groups and canvass the neighborhood and install those smoke alarms for free. We're the ones doing the heavy lifting with our screw gun and all of the things that are provided to us. And it really goes over quite well. Another community partnership that we have is really looking for organizations. Currently, I work for F&M Trust this past year. Every year we do a charitable event. This year we did choose the Red Cross and their service to the armed forces, for which we packed backpacks full of underwear, undershirts, socks, notepads, toiletry items, kind of run the gamut for those veterans that are at risk or homeless. And then those were provided to Franklin County, a small percentage, and then the bulk were coming up to Cumberland and Dauphin County. There is a day at the farm show where they will be given out. We also run blood drives throughout every company, organization. And the last thing I would want to talk about is our volunteer deployment. Here in the central Pennsylvania, our volunteers not only volunteer here, but they've been deployed to our recent disasters in Tennessee, North Carolina, and California. So we're a robust central Pennsylvania chapter with our volunteers and everything that we do.
Absolutely. Always seeking new opportunities to engage volunteers. I always see our county commissioners as partners in helping to promote some of our programs and some of our opportunities locally. So certainly I try to keep in touch as much as I can year round, but these proclamation opportunities are a great time to kind of talk about where we are. So I would say, you know, certainly volunteer development is number one, because all of these things that Erin talked about and all of these responses that I had mentioned, and that's in here in this document, this is by volunteers. I am an employee of the Red Cross, and over 90% of our workforce in central Pennsylvania is volunteer. So they are to be celebrated and they are to be thanked on the daily. And we certainly show our appreciation to them. So anytime we can engage Cumberland County residents in this work is a good day. And we're very thankful to have such talent from this county that we have to be able to respond to fires and other events like this past weekend. So that being said, the fun part is our social media. So you do have this document. These links are active. I encourage our commissioner teams, our county residents to follow our social media. You'll hear about, yes, notable responses that we had, but also some really great stories. I think it's important that we work in some really dark spaces with tragedy and loss, but we also see the most beautiful parts of people through volunteerism and through rolling up their sleeves to donate blood. And we'd like to celebrate that as well. So often you will see some Cumberland County residents doing really beautiful, wonderful deeds with us, and we encourage our partners to share that content. That being said, and then this is me. That's my information. I truly mean it. I always consider your direct line, right, to me if there's any questions you have about response, ways people can engage with us, or if there is something going on specifically in your territory and footprint that a constituent comes to you with questions, concerns, please get that right to me. I will triage that and get it in the right hands. So always consider myself your partner.
Erin, I just did have, or Laura, I had a couple of questions as to, are you getting enough volunteers from Cumberland County at this time? I know volunteerism is a challenge.
I think it's a continuous effort to keep volunteers. Some fall off for whatever reason. So it's always an engagement, and they have within the Central Pennsylvania branch, they have a volunteer coordinator. The one thing that we would look for is committee members. So maybe you don't have time to go out and be at a disaster mission. However, you do have set times where you could lend your brain power to sit on a committee, whether it's service to the armed forces, the philanthropic committee, which I'm the chair of. So blood drives, all of those things we have committees for that help, you know, run us in the right direction.
Open your network to the Red Cross to open up new opportunities to engage. Absolutely. I will say specifically to, we've had a very big national disaster season this year with Helene, then Milton, LA. Prior to that, we had Debbie, that we actually did see widespread flooding throughout the Commonwealth. As a result of some concerted media efforts, we did see probably a 150% jump in our volunteer applications come through for people who said, yes, I want to raise my hand. I'd love to possibly deploy, but also help out locally. So, you know, to my point of, we see the most beautiful side of people sometimes when tragedy strikes. We did see a good uptick in our response to that and in volunteerism. But to Erin's point, the need is continuous. We cannot do it without our volunteers. And the great thing about the Red Cross is you don't have to do the disaster response piece or shelter worker piece if that's not something that's interesting to you. We have everything from a data volunteer to a storyteller, to a committee member, to a board member. We have an opportunity for whatever time someone is willing to donate to us. Great question.
Is there any other specific need that you guys are you looking to, that we need to spread the word for you on, more blood drives or anything that you need?
Blood drive is always so
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
We're always running into shortages, so the more you can spread the word on those, the better.
Can I get your card and mail, John?
I actually get our phone calls all the
I get
time.
those too.
I get all the phone calls. The truth is, and that is, Erin is absolutely right. Can't be manufactured. Blood cannot be manufactured and it can't be stockpiled. So we need it from volunteer donors. An average time between blood donations for a standard unit of blood, which is equal to a pint, is 56 days. So that's why you get the calls and the cards continuously, because it is a continuous need. For those for promotion's sake, we will start seeing a reduction in volunteers that present for donation probably in May, June, July, as we approach the end of school, vacation season, summer camps, things like that. We do see a little bit of a reduction in the volunteer donors that present.
Interesting. So, and you're the same group that does CPR training
We are same
and
organization.
lifeguard training?
Correct.
So I will offer you this as the mother of a now 18-year-old who has been a lifeguard for 4 years. He didn't understand this, and I know that you know this, but I would like to say this publicly. The ability to have a lifeguard at a swimming pool, a public swimming pool, allows for children to get the opportunity to swim that they would not otherwise have. Thanks.
Thank you for saying that. And it's what we promote every day.
I would drive him to the, right before he drove, I would drive him to the mechanics first swimming pool. And the kids would be like, it's the lifeguard. Like, don't worry, guys, I'm bringing the lifeguard. Because they were waiting for the pool to open. It's fabulous. That program, that lifeguarding program has been fabulous. It's just thanks.
And a special plug for our babysitting course, which my soon to be 13-year-old will be going through this summer. So she can start her babysitting and do so safely. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time and the floor today. Appreciate you.
Thank you for coming to see us, and keep up the amazing work
Thank you.
that you do. And we really truly wanted to directly thank you for all of your efforts, particularly here in Cumberland County.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, is there any other business to come before the board at this time? It appears not. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved. We are adjourned.